Before we even begin, I need you to understand something. What you're about to hear will challenge your assumptions, confront your beliefs, and maybe even shake you. This isn't advice you'll hear from your friends, your peers, or society at large. Most men never face this truth, and most women won't tell it openly. If you're an older man, or a man in the process of growing into yourself, you need to hear this with absolute clarity. Women aren't attracted to you for the reasons you think. They don't lose themselves in your age, your money, or your experience. Those are the stories insecure men tell themselves to feel important. The real reason women feel drawn to certain men is deeper, invisible, and far more powerful. It's a truth most men will never confront because it requires honesty, self-reflection, and courage. But once you understand it, you'll never approach attraction the same way again. You'll stop chasing what doesn't matter and start becoming the kind of man they can't ignore. Most men believe women are drawn to age, money, or status, and that the older you get, the more desirable you become automatically. That's a myth. Age alone carries no power. Money alone carries no magnetism. Status alone does not create attraction. What really matters is what you've done with your life. Age is simply a measure of time, but women are drawn to the consequences of growth, experience, and self-mastery. A man can be in his 40s or 50s and completely invisible if he hasn't evolved internally. On the other hand, a man who has lived intentionally, learned from challenges, and mastered himself can be magnetic at any age. Many men spend their youth chasing external validation, trying to impress people who don't matter, pursuing women who don't respect them, accumulating wealth for appearances rather than freedom. Then they reach their 40s and wonder why no one notices them. It's not age that is working against them. It's a lack of internal development. Women are not looking at your calendar. They are observing the depth of your growth, the stability of your character, and the maturity of your mind. That is what naturally attracts attention and desire. Time only becomes valuable when you use it to build a man worth admiring. If there's one trait that instantly makes a man magnetic, it's emotional maturity. Women don't consciously measure it, but they feel it instinctively. Emotional maturity is not about saying the right things, performing for attention, or acting like you have it all together. It's about who you are internally and how your energy affects the people around you. A mature man has faced his own life, the failures, heartbreaks, disappointments, and victories, and he has transformed them into wisdom. He has learned to manage his emotions instead of letting them control him. He has cultivated patience through chaos, discipline through difficulty, and clarity through confusion. This isn't something you can buy or fake. It is built through experience and reflection. Women are drawn to this because it signals safety, stability, and trustworthiness. When a man carries calm confidence, it calms her nervous system. When he handles pressure without collapsing, she feels secure. When he speaks from awareness instead of ego, she feels seen and understood. Emotional maturity is the invisible magnet that turns ordinary interactions into profound attraction. A woman doesn't need grand gestures, expensive gifts, or flashy displays. She is responding to the quiet authority that comes from a man who has studied himself, faced his storms, and emerged stronger. In short, emotional maturity is the difference between men who are noticed effortlessly and men who are overlooked, regardless of age, wealth, or appearance. It is the foundation of presence, the anchor of desire, and the silent language women recognize long before words are spoken. Too many men believe attraction can be bought with money, status, or physical appearance. They focus on what they show the world rather than who they are inside. But women are not impressed by superficial displays. They are drawn to life experience, transformed into wisdom, resilience, and presence. A man who has lived intentionally, faced challenges, and grown from them radiates something that no material success can replicate. His victories and failures have shaped him into someone steady, grounded, and self-assured. He doesn't need to prove himself because his inner strength speaks for itself. Contrast this with a man who is successful externally but lacks depth. He may have wealth or status, but his energy feels scattered, insecure, or reactive. Women sense it immediately. That type of man may command attention temporarily, but he doesn't inspire trust or desire. Presence and emotional intelligence are far more compelling than a luxury car, a designer suit, or a perfectly sculpted body. In reality, attraction is about what you carry within, not what you display outwardly. Women respond to competence combined with composure, strength tempered with calm, and clarity born from experience. Life experience is only valuable when it has been processed, integrated, and refined. The man who has mastered himself through challenges becomes magnetic because his energy signals stability, trust, and confidence, qualities that cannot be faked. In short, superficial traits may open the door, but depth and experience keep her engaged. Presence is the invisible signal that communicates who you are before you ever say a word. It is the combination of confidence, calm, and self-mastery, expressed through energy, posture, tone, and subtle behaviors. Women feel presence instinctively. It triggers trust, safety, and curiosity. A man with presence doesn't need to perform, brag, or prove himself. His energy speaks first, carrying weight because it is grounded in authenticity and inner clarity. He occupies a room not with ego, but with a quiet authority that naturally draws attention. His stillness conveys calm confidence, and his measured movements suggest control without aggression. Presence affects a woman's nervous system. She relaxes in his energy, feels safe, and is more open to connection. She doesn't need to guess who he is or what he feels. She doesn't feel pressure to impress or perform because his stability signals reliability. This is far more seductive than any external display of wealth or looks. True presence also eliminates the need for validation. A man who has cultivated it doesn't chase attention. He radiates a sense of internal completeness. His calm under pressure, his awareness in conversation, and his ability to listen fully without judgment all communicate emotional intelligence, which women sense deeply and instinctively. In essence, presence is the magnetic quality born from self-mastery, life experience, and emotional maturity. It is invisible but undeniable, and it is the key factor that separates ordinary men from men women can't stop noticing. Emotional discipline is one of the most overlooked but most powerful qualities in attraction. Women aren't impressed by men who react impulsively or let their moods dictate their behavior. They are drawn to men who understand their emotions, manage them effectively, and respond with intention. A man with emotional discipline doesn't collapse under pressure, explode in anger, or seek to control others through his emotions. Instead, he approaches challenges with calm awareness. He reflects before reacting, knows his triggers, and maintains composure even in chaos. This isn't weakness, it's strength. It communicates stability, trustworthiness, and leadership. Women instinctively evaluate this because it signals safety and reliability. A man who can stay grounded when life gets difficult demonstrates that he can handle not only his own storms, but also the challenges of a relationship. Emotional discipline becomes a silent form of authority, telling her, "I can be trusted and I am someone you can rely on." Contrast this with a man who lacks self-mastery. He may be successful externally, but his energy is inconsistent, reactive, or needy. Women sense this instability immediately, and it destroys attraction faster than any external flaw ever could. Ultimately, emotional discipline is what separates a man who is desirable effortlessly from a man who is frustrated, unnoticed, or constantly chasing validation. It is the foundation for presence, stability, and deep magnetism, qualities that women respond to instinctively, even before a word is spoken. One of the biggest mistakes men make in dating is confusing loudness, impulsiveness, or attention-seeking behavior with strength and attraction. Women aren't drawn to drama, they are drawn to stability. True attraction comes from a man who brings order, calm, and clarity into the world around him. A man who is reactive, chaotic, or unpredictable may command attention briefly, but he does not inspire trust or desire. Women instinctively recognize that instability signals risk. On the other hand, a man who remains grounded under pressure, who moves and speaks with intention, creates an energy that is magnetic and reassuring. Stability is not just emotional, it is psychological and relational. It allows a woman to relax into his presence without fear of manipulation, volatility, or unnecessary pressure. She doesn't have to manage his moods, anticipate his reactions, or guess his intentions. His calm energy creates space for her to feel safe, to be herself, and to engage authentically. Drama may attract attention temporarily, but it never builds lasting desire. Stability, presence, and emotional composure do. A woman is drawn to the man who carries his life with purpose, manages his inner world effectively, and communicates strength without ego. In essence, calm, consistent energy is far more seductive than any external display of passion or impulsiveness. Women respond to men whose lives and minds are in order because stability signals safety, competence, and lasting attraction. Self-mastery is the cornerstone of attraction. It's what separates the desirable, confident man from the frustrated, overlooked one. A man without self-mastery tries to control everything outside himself: women, circumstances, outcomes. A man with self-mastery focuses on what he can control: his mindset, habits, reactions, and boundaries. This internal discipline radiates outward as stability, calm, and quiet confidence. Women sense it immediately. They recognize a man who has faced his own weaknesses, taken responsibility for his life, and rebuilt himself after challenges. They feel that he can navigate life's storms without being consumed by them, and that reliability is the foundation of safety in a relationship. Self-mastery is not about perfection, it's about conscious evolution. It means learning from mistakes instead of repeating them, correcting destructive patterns instead of ignoring them, and building emotional clarity from past pain. The man who has done this doesn't need to perform or impress. His presence, composure, and integrity communicate value effortlessly. When a man develops self-mastery, he becomes magnetic, not because of his age, money, or status, but because he has cultivated an inner world that is strong, aware, and grounded. This is the kind of man who women notice instinctively, think about when he's not around, and trust instinctively when he is. In short, self-mastery transforms ordinary men into men who are respected, desired, and unforgettable, and it is entirely within your control to develop.